Yo guys and gals, it's Tripl-L, and today let's quickly do a Little Witch Academia video before the episode actually comes up. It hasn't come up right now when I'm sitting down to record this particular video, but this is a video covering the new opening for Little Witch Academia. I really like the vocals. I kind of like the opening and I really want to talk about it, and I don't want it to chew into the time that I would spend on the video usually. So we're going to talk about this opening. I already have some of it playing in the background. Overall, I'm really digging it. It's a really kind of simple opening as well when you look at the backgrounds, but not the point. Anyway, the title screen's on the screen right now. It should be, but this opening is actually pretty cool. So let's just start talking about it. I can't play the whole song, however, because copyright, but whatever. It'll work out. So I'm going to stop you ahead of a really epic little sequence that's about to start. The opening opens up with Akko chasing after just the image of Shiny Chariot, and then just her looking really resolute. It's really in time with the way she's stepping around. It really sets up the opening rather well, and I really dig it. I really dig it. Anyway, we're going into the really epic imagery right now. Okay, so let's just admit that just seeing or at least a lot of witches lined up like that, and Akko and her group in the center, it kind of makes things interesting, right? It's like everyone's in position for something pretty awesome. It's almost like they're saluting Akko, and you know, that imagery is really working. It really makes things seem a bit grander because you have so much order and file in this shot, but it gets better when you see the rest of it. Here they start just going through the rank and file, just giving the general look at who's involved here. Unfortunately, for these two little segments here, they're not really important. The only two characters that really stand out in this particular little segment are these two who are main on the screen. One of them we've seen her before, and the other one seems like she's gonna have a role to play in this upcoming second half of the season. But then the secondary misfit trio gets the time. They get specifically a whole shot dedicated to them. A lot of respect, really appreciate that. And now we're going into what completes this overall image. Diana and her girls, and the lead up to them and Diana like rising her head. Again, it's kind of helping that epic feel. What's actually very interesting in this shot is that if you look at what's going on here, if you look at the background, it's a very simplistic background, but Akko and her girls have the backing of Luna Nova. Diana is just on a pure white background. No idea what that could actually mean in the future, because actually, yeah, what could that mean? Could it just be a stylistic choice, or could that mean that Akko is doing more in the interest of Luna Nova than Diana is? Anyway, now we're getting into the really epic sequence where the whole lineup matters. We see the two girls going up to meet each other, and having the witches in the background just kind of respecting that collision that's about to happen. It helps the imagery as well. So this shot right here of Shiny Chariot and the person who we still don't know who she is, I've already looked up a line, people saying her name is Croix, not the point. This is what establishes what sides people are going to be on, specifically that Diana is following in the footsteps of the Croix person versus Shiny Chariot. So it's a nice little parallel of the different generations that are going on and who's on whose side in a way. But there's the distinction right there. When they do cross, it goes back to Akko and Diana, and it shows that they might actually be more amicable to being friends than the previous generation was. And this seems to be something that is really being heightened, because even though that they were at those distinct sides at the beginning of this opening, even though they had the epic build up to their walking across each other, they're at the very least still united in some front, and this might be something we see towards the back end of the second half of the season. So this part was just all nice stuff just to see our main characters going in. But again, we're focusing back in on Diana. So Diana goes in to do her general chase thing, and then we get Akko popping up on the side and generally surprising Diana. And one thing that we see here is through the transformations that Akko's about to have, we can make the jump that she really is going to make those floppy transformations her own thing. Okay, and again, another defining shot about the conflict that's going on in the previous generation with Ursula and Croix. Again, they're facing opposing sides, the same sides that they were facing before. Really interesting stuff, just makes you wonder what's going on there. And then obviously the shot of Andrew, because Andrew is the love interest. And finally, the last little bit, the whole cast shot. So, things to take note of in this particular shot is that we have Holbrook in the far ends of the inner circle. So, Holbrook's a pretty good indication of who's important in this shot. So, Holbrook's in the far end, and then Finneran, the professor who tried to expel Akko at one point in the series, is kind of further in the limelight than Holbrook is. So that's a pretty good indication that she's probably going to have something to do in this season. Another very interesting thing is that Croix is lined up with Andrew and his father. If you look at their side of the screen, you can draw an arc through those three characters. They are on generally the same side, so that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. And now some specific notes to go back to. Another really cool thing about the sequence where Akko and Diana are coming in and just facing each other down is that if you look at Kill la Kill's second opening, there was a very similar kind of play going on where it was Ryoko and Satsuki just kind of facing each other down as they went upstairs. So I think Trigger just likes this general imagery, and we're seeing it pop up again here. Another detail, Croix is actually the girl that was foreshadowed in, I think 3 episodes ago with the Blue Moon apparition. Here's the shot from that episode, and then you can see Croix here, and Croix also has the sleeve that we saw in the previous episode. So, pretty interesting stuff. No doubt Croix is being set up as the antagonist in this opening, but that last shot of all the characters together might mean that she might generally be, things might work out in the end. That's ultimately what this thing is telling us. Things might work out in the end. From Diana grabbing Akko's hand to Croix and Ursula standing and looking in the same direction, we know that things might work out in the end. Anyway, I really like this opening. I like it more than the first one. I think it's just for the vocals. I like the vocals a bit more. But I'm pretty excited to see how this all shakes out in episode 14. Yes, I believe it's episode 14. But until then, guys, thanks for watching, and until next time, I hope you have a really, really great day.